And now, from approximately coast to coast, it's the Bob and Ray Radio Show.
Go ahead! He said, go ahead. The engineer said, go ahead.
All right, here we are.
Might as well start another one, I guess. Paul, thank you for...
Wrap it up, Paul.
Name.
People are sick of that theme song. Okay, here we go.
You got a note stuck again, Paul.
Oh, excuse me.
What do you do about that?
It's stuck. Oh, wait a minute.
Kick it.
One of those things. Doggone my luck.
We're always asking for listener support. This is one reason why we like to have listener support, so that the organ can be fixed to work properly.
Yeah. It'll fade out. Oh, no, here it is back again. This is one of those things that happens occasionally.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, for me.
I see you getting up and walking away.
Can you imagine if this is a real program on the air?
Well, luckily it isn't.
No,
Yeah, we're just
that's
sitting
right.
here having
Really?
fun.
Yeah.
In
This is
our
what
own-
we call a radio a technical difficulty.
And it's west of Denver. It isn't here in New York where
Oh.
this program comes from.
And now a brief word from one of our fine sponsors, the Kretchford, Braid, and Tassel Company.
Friends, another big season of social activities is almost upon us, and that means you'll be wanting to replace the worn-out fringe on your epaulettes with one of the shiny new varieties now available at your local Kretchford dealer.
Now, whether you're a rising young rear admiral or a well-established hotel doorman, you'll always look your best in epaulette fringe by Kretchford.
And while you're stocking up at your local Kretchford store, you'll also want to look over the wide selection of fuzz balls for your kitchen curtains and fancy edging for your lodge banner.
Whatever your needs in braid or tassels, insist on genuine Kretchford, manufactured by the company that dares to stand behind its fringe for 2 full years.
And now, the Monongahela Metal Foundry, maker of high-quality steel ingots for home and industry, brings you another tale of adventures starring Tippy, the Wonder Dog. As we look in on the isolated cabin of Grandpa Witherspoon today, Gramps is seated on his cot, wearing only his red flannels and a cap endorsing a farm implement company. Meantime, little Jasper stands in the front window, staring out at the bleak winter landscape. Suddenly, the boy turns and speaks.
The landscape sure gets bleak this time of the year, Gramps.
Concern it all, I know the landscape is bleak. All I care about right now is finding that fool dog of yours. I can't go to the Saturday night social at the Grange Hall unless he gets back from town with a rental tuxedo I sent him to fetch.
Oh, you needn't trouble your mind about that, Gramps. Tippy will be back in plenty of time with your formal wear, including the cummerbund. He's the grandest, smartest dog in the whole wide world.
Well, concern it all, I could have run that simple errand a dozen times by now. I only sent the fool dog so I could conserve my strength for tango dancing at the social.
Fear not, Gramps. It just takes time to locate a powder blue tux in a size 44 Portly. But Tippy won't let you down. He's the niftiest, the smartest dog in the whole wide world.
Well, concern it
Oh,
all.
forsooth! I think I see him now, Gramps, racing up the path with articles of clothing in his mouth. Here, Tippy, Tippy, Tippy! Here, Tippy!
Well, concern it all, give me the tuxedo. I need to pin this carnation in the buttonhole before tonight.
Sorry, Gramps, I was mistaken in thinking that was Tippy I saw out there. It was just the Henderson's beagle headed home from the dressmaker with Mrs. Henderson's formal gown for the big social.
Concern it all, every other dog in the neighborhood knows enough about current fashion to be sent out on a simple chore. But that fool Tippy is probably off in the woods someplace, chewing on one of my rented coat sleeves.
Oh, Gramps, you always make demeaning comments about Tippy whenever you get frantic. But he'll be here. He's the dependablest, the smartest... Oh, wait, I think I see him out there now. Tippy! Here, Tippy, Tippy, Tippy!
Hell, concern it all, give me trousers so I can see whether they need to be let out around the waist before tonight.
No can do, Gramps. That wasn't Tippy either. It was just that stray kitten that hangs around the Oberfeld place. He was headed up that way with a corsage for old Lady Oberfeld to wear to the social.
Concern it all, dogs are supposed to be smarter than cats, but that fool Tippy is sure the exception to the rule.
Oh, now, Gramps, you're just making another of those premature judgments you're famous for. But Tippy will show you the error of your ways. He's the keenest, the smartest. Oh, hark! I see him out there now for sure. Come in, Tippy. That's my swell old dog.
Well, consign it all. Give me that rented tux quick. If it isn't the right shade of powder blue, I may have to do a dye job on it.
This doesn't seem to be a tuxedo that Tippy brought home, Gramps. See, it's one of those plastic kazoos, like little children play.
Consign it all. I'm going to make chopped meat out of that fool
No,
dog.
no, wait, Gramps. Don't you see the clever deduction Tippy's made? He must have encountered every other eligible widower in the village rushing to rent a tuxedo. So he realized that your best chance of becoming the life of the party was to provide kazoo music. You see? He even brought along an instruction booklet to teach you how to play it. Oh, boy. Didn't I tell you, Gramps, that Tippy's the cleverest, the smartest dog in the whole wide world?
Today's inspiring drama has been brought to you by the Monongahela Metal Foundry, where steel ingots for home and office are still manufactured in a variety of decorator shapes to blend in tastefully with the theme of your room. Well, that's bound to come as good news to those who are tired of replacing worn-out ingots with the same old long rectangular type produced year after year by other metal foundries. At your Monongahela dealer, you'll find a wide selection of round, triangular, and even early American-style steel ingots to match your other furnishings. Your highbrow friends will be impressed with your good taste when you choose steel ingots to complement your decor. Check out the newest styles at your Monongahela Metal Foundry showroom today, and join us again soon for more adventures starring Tippy, the Wonder Dog.
Okay, folks, it's time to call the Bob and Ray special High Roller Mystery phone number and win fabulous prizes.
What mystery phone number was that?
The one that this public radio station is going to tell us about.
Oh, now wait a minute. Are you by any chance talking about how listeners can call and help support this station?
Well, I suppose you could put it that way. I just thought it would be a good idea, to kind of jazz it up.
Well, you don't need to do that. Don't you think the listeners to public radio are a little beyond that sort of talk?
Oh, heck no. Look, they like free stuff just like everyone else.
But they understand nothing is free. Not this program, not any program on public radio, because public radio is paid for by the people who listen to it.
And I might add that when you do join, you win a fabulous prize. The programs you want to hear. Because your vote counts when you call during this break.
And what about the peace of mind that comes with knowing you've done your part to keep your favorite programs on the air? I'd say that's a good enough prize right there.
You think we could get the Monongahela folks to throw in a few steel ingots for free?
Here's a highly trained announcer prepared to tell you how you can support public radio. And now come with us as we travel once again to Garish Summit, with its endless tales of intrigue among the socially prominent. There, in stately splendor, far removed from the squalid village below, they fight their petty battles over power and money. As our story resumes, young Caldwell Murchfield has just returned to work at the family business after being cleared of a crime that he actually committed. He pauses in the reception room to chat with his spineless brother, Rodney.
I just want to tell you that it's great to be back at work, Rodney. I also want to tell you that I'll be at the country club for the rest of the day.
I'd like to speak to you for a moment before you go, Caldwell.
Okay, but be quick about it. I'm scheduled to tee off at noon, and it's almost 9:30 now.
Well, I assure you this won't take long. I just want to say that my proposal of marriage has been accepted by my ravishingly beautiful secretary, Pamela. We'll announce our engagement at the club dance on Saturday night.
Gee, your timing may be bad on that, Rodney. I plan to ask Pamela to go with me to the dance. And it might be embarrassing for you to announce your engagement when she's there on a date with another guy.
Caldwell, I hope you'll see the wisdom of giving up your foolish pursuit of Pamela now that she's agreed to marry me.
Gosh, you never want me to have any fun at all, do you?
I really don't care about your frivolous lifestyle, but your attempts to date Pamela are unthinkable. After all, I'm obligated to ask you to be best man at our wedding.
Well, I don't know how much of a job like that pays, but I've got a hunch that the wedding will never come off. Has Mother heard that you plan to marry some floozy with no social connections?
I've only mentioned it to her briefly on the phone, but I know she'll be thrilled once we start making all the formal plans.
Hey, Wilfred, why is Miss Agatha up there on the roof, barely hanging onto the weather vane with one hand?
I believe she's a trifle upset that Master Rodney plans to marry a woman who's beneath his station, Lloyd.
You tell him to call it off right now, or he can come home and pick me up with an eyedropper.
Please reconsider, Miss Agatha. All of us servants still love you.
How could any woman be beneath Rodney's station? He's a wimp, and everybody else around here lives in Fruitcake City.
How can you be so insensitive, Lloyd? Miss Agatha is in peril.
Get my attorney, Bowden Pardew, on the phone, Wilfred. Tell him to handle this matter, or I jump.
Very well, ma'am. I'm dialing his number right now.
Well, forgive my intrusion, Mr. Pardew, but I have a proposition that can make you a millionaire many times over.
I'll try to hold that thought for a moment while I take this call on my private line. Hello? Yes, Wilfred. Well, inform Agatha that I'm busy with a client just now. No, I'm not concerned. As I remember, there's plenty of shrubbery to cushion her fall directly under the weather vane. Yes. I'll get back to you shortly, tomorrow at the latest. Goodbye. Sorry for the interruption, Mr.
Pelkington. Jarvis Pelkington, Jr., board chairman of the Pelkington Anchor and Buckshot Cartel.
It's astounding. Your firm is the hated competitor of the Murchfield Lead Company. The Pelkingtons and the Murchfields have been trying to destroy each other for 50 years.
Quite true, sir. But the end of that long battle is now in sight. You see, Rodney Murchfield's intended bride is merely posing as a simple typist. In reality, she's my dear sister, the accomplished industrial spy, Pamela Pelkington.
Good gravy.
Well spoken, Mr. Pardew. Now you just keep that as our little secret while you convince Agatha that the wedding should take place. And once the marriage enables Pelkington to absorb Murchfield Lead, you'll be handsomely paid for your services. Quite handsomely paid indeed.
Can Jarvis Pelkington persuade Bowden Pardew to use his influence on Agatha? Can Rodney persuade Caldwell to end his social relationship with Pamela? And what about Wilfred's failure to persuade Bowden Pardew to persuade Agatha not to jump? Join us next time when we'll hear Lloyd, the gardener, say,
Well, I don't know why he thought the shrubbery would break or fall. I transplanted those bushes last spring.
That's in our next exciting visit to Garish Summit.
We have the noted psychologist, Dr. Merton Chesney, back with us today. He's consented to answer questions phoned in by all of you emotionally disturbed listeners. Doctor, I'm happy to have you here in the studio again.
That's an interesting comment. I have unbalanced patients who think money will make them happy. Some even think fame would make them happy. But you're the first case I've run across that claimed having me in a radio studio made him happy.
Well, I didn't mean it was going to make me happy for the rest of my life. I just meant that having you here makes me happy, right now.
Ah, in other words, you have wild mood swings where you're happy for a short period and then you plunge into depression. Is that it?
No, that's not it. But right now, our first caller is on the line, so would you pick up the phone, please?
Not so fast. Your case interests me. Does this happy feeling seem to surge through your body in like some manic form of elation?
No, in fact, I'm sorry I used the expression, so just pick up the phone and forget I was happy to see you, okay?
It's amazing to see how fast your mood changes once the cycle comes around the other way.
Pick up the phone!
Ah, you're a classic case. I must do a paper on you, but first I'll pick up the phone. Hello, you're on the air with Dr. Chesney.
Hi, Doc. I've had quite a problem since I fell under a bar stool last week. I'm not sure who I am. You see,
Well, amnesia is common after a sudden jolt. Is there anything with a name on it among your clothing that might identify you?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. My belt buckle says Yves Saint Laurent. My pants say Calvin Klein. And the T-shirt I was wearing when I woke up says Famous Amos.
Ah, that may just indicate you're a yuppie, but it doesn't really help much. Any ID at all in your wallet?
Yeah, driver's license. It says I'm Rex Hubby of New York.
Well, and why did you tell me you haven't felt sure who you are since you fell off this bar stool?
Well, it was my wife who made me feel that way. She came stomping into the bar and said to me, "Are you still the He-Man I married? Or have you just become a fat, middle-aged wimp?" Then she hit me, knocked me off the bar stool.
And you're not sure which of the two people she mentioned you really are, is that it?
Right, I just wish, she'd give me another choice. Potentially, I see myself as a big league infielder with irresistible blue eyes.
Well, then you're George Brett, and I'm glad to have cured your amnesia. Now we'll move along to another caller. Hello, you're on the air with Dr. Chesney.
Hello, Doctor. I sincerely hope you can answer a question that's been haunting me. Am I crazy just because I imagine I see Benito Mussolini everywhere I go, and he's always wearing a University of Michigan sweatshirt with pink leotards?
Yes, madam. Anyone who imagined that would definitely be crazy.
Okay, I just wanted to check. Thanks a heap.
My pleasure. Now, I think we have time for just one more quick call. Hello, you're on the air with Dr. Chesney.
Hello, I'm calling on behalf of a friend of mine who has a problem. You see...
Sir, I've been a practicing psychologist for many years. I know that people who say they want to talk to me about the problems of a friend are really speaking of themselves, so why not admit it?
Gee, I realize you're a great shrink and all that, but this friend of mine...
My good man, you're never going to have any peace of mind at all as long as you keep up this ridiculous pretense. So stop feeling guilt and admit you're talking about yourself. Admit it!
Okay, I admit it.
Good. Now we've made a breakthrough. Now continue, please.
Well, I'm going to have a baby. And the thing is...
You mean your wife's going to have a baby?
No, I'm not married.
Well, you can't be having a baby. It must be a friend of yours.
Yeah, that's what I told you before. It's a friend of mine.
Very well, and what's the problem?
I forget. You just got me going around in circles there until it seems to have slipped my mind.
Well, that's the purpose of my therapy. I'm pleased that it worked so well in your case. So, until I return to help another group of troubled souls like this gentleman, this is Dr. Merton Chesney signing off by wishing you all good luck and good emotional stability.
Well, hi there, boys and girls. Let's all gather around now for another session of fun and learning on Prodigy Street. I'm sure you little people are all anxious to put on your thinking caps so you can hurry up and become smarter than your mommies and daddies. So we're not going to keep you waiting one more minute for today's lesson, because Wally the Word Man is here with something brand new for you to learn. Right, Wally the Word Man?
Ah, yes, you're just as right can be, Mr. Wise Old Owl. We've all had a lot of practice now on forming words into sentences, children, but we still haven't learned about all the fun we can have punctuating those sentences with periods and commas, just like grown-ups use. So, let's begin by taking that hard sentence we learned yesterday and printing it on our Wally the Word Man blackboard. I see a violet.
I wonder how many of you youngsters have noticed that the I and the O in the word violet look a whole lot like a 1 and a 0 from our arithmetic lessons.
Well, I imagine most of the children have noticed it by now, Mr. Wise Old Owl, because you pointed out that very same thing when we wrote this sentence on the board yesterday.
Well, I know, but I neglected to remind the kids that a 1 and a 0 right together, as they are in the word violet, make a 10. So violet is really spelled V-10-L-E-T.
I really wish you wouldn't teach the children to spell words that way, Mr. Wise Old Owl. I think it might tend to confuse them a lot.
I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to interfere.
Quite all right. Now, boys and girls, to make a complete sentence out of I see a violet, we have to put a thing at the end, and that's called a period. So let's all make a tiny round dot after violet.
And notice, if you will, children, how that round dot looks a lot like a decimal point that we use for separating dollars from cents in our addition.
Well, it doesn't just look a lot like it, Mr. Wise Old Owl. The two look exactly alike. But a period serves an entirely different function.
Well, that's true, and the kids have already learned that its function in arithmetic is much more important. Remember how I showed you that we can multiply by 10 just by moving our decimal point one space to the right? Should we review that now, boys and girls?
No, we shouldn't do that now. I'm right in the middle of an important lesson on punctuation, and I'd rather not mix arithmetic in with it.
Well, it just seemed like a logical time, since it doesn't take a lot of thinking to put a period at the end of a sentence. Everybody knows how to do that.
Well, they don't know how to do it until somebody teaches them. And you'd realize that if you'd taken even one education course in college. Boy, you math majors really have a limited view of things.
Well, I don't see any reason for starting to throw personal insults into this. If you want to waste more time on whatever you're doing there, go right ahead.
Thank you. I intend to. Now, boys and girls, suppose we want to write something even harder, like, I see a violet, and it is purple. Then we'd just have a little pause after the word violet, and we'd indicate that with a comma, which looks like this.
Well, what do you know, kids? That comma is the very same thing we learned to use last week when we separated thousands from hundreds in arithmetic. You remember? 1, 0, 0, 0 is 1,000.
You're just not going to butt out of this thing, are you?
Well, I only wanted to point out something important, so this lesson wouldn't be a complete waste of time. So far today, all the kids have learned to do is put little squiggly things in their sentences.
All right, that does it. Up to now, you've just been a harmless fathead, but you finally went too far. Take that.
Well, I guess our time's up for today, boys and girls. Join us again tomorrow on Prodigy Street for more...
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to take up something even more interesting, kids. The semicolon.
Well, we'll have to see about that. So be sure to join us, children. Same time, same station on Prodigy Street. Wally the Word Man will be here, and you can just bet I'll be here too.
I can hardly wait. Hi, this is Bob Elliott.
And this is Ray Goulding.
And just a quick reminder that the Bob and Ray radio show is coming to you through the transmitter of this listener-supported public radio station.
And a mighty fine transmitter it is, too. In fact, I think that's one of Mr. Armstrong's original prototypes, isn't it?
Well, perhaps not that new, but the point is, for this station to continue to buy new equipment and keep the Bob and Ray radio show sounding good, it needs help from each one of you listeners.
So here's someone who can tell you what number to call to pledge your support. Today we're pleased to welcome back our Bob and Ray Consumer Affairs Advisor, Hoyt Netley. Mr. Netley has been on the staff of Syracuse University for more than 30 years, and he's kindly consented to offer his expert findings on various products to our listeners.
Thank you. I've brought several consumer items with me today, Ray, that are available on retail shelves throughout the country.
Yes, I see you have, and before we discuss those, I noticed that your resume just says you're on the staff of Syracuse University. It doesn't mention the department that you're affiliated with.
You mean what building do they have me work in up there?
Well, that would be part of it. I just think our listeners would like to know what you do at the university.
Well, I do whatever needs to be done. It's been that way since the spring of 1974.
I see. Well,
actually, I started in October of 73, but it was only part-time at first, so I'd say 1974 because that's when I began doing it full-time, and I like to be conservative.
Well, being conservative is certainly something one looks for in a consumer affairs advisor, so let's get on to the first item you have there to describe to our listeners.
All right, this is something I want to warn people about if they have small children. I found it among other canned goods in my home, but when I tried to eat these preserved turnips, they were very tough to chew, and I'm afraid a child could easily strangle on things like this.
Well, I'm sure that's true, but those aren't preserved turnips in that can. They're tennis balls. Look at the label.
You're right, canned tennis balls. Isn't that interesting? I guess maybe the fresh ones are out of season.
Maybe so. In any event, I think you should move right along to another consumer topic.
Well, it's easy for you to move along because these tennis balls weren't found in your cupboard. As it happens, my wife doesn't play tennis, but we live next door to a gigolo who does.
Well, that's really not a consumer problem, so if we could just...
That little dude next door is a consumer. He's going to have big problems when I get my hands on him.
Fine, but in the meantime... what about this large bottle that you have marked as your shopper's special of the week?
Yeah, that was quite a discovery, and I certainly want to recommend it to your audience. Most people don't think twice about spending $2, $3 for a large bottle of the leading mouthwash, but it's only 20% alcohol. I found this generic brand in my neighborhood drugstore for 60 cents, and look at that label. 100% alcohol.
Well, that may be, Mr. Netley, but this is not a mouthwash. It's rubbing alcohol. You see, it says right there, for external use only.
Yes, I saw that. So I gargled with it in the backyard for the first day or two. Then I found it didn't seem to burn my throat any worse when I brought it in the house and gargled internally.
I see. What did you say you do up there at the university?
I didn't exactly say. I kind of danced around the question.
That's the way I remember it, too. So, well, what's next on your list of recommendations for the consumer? You have two very official-looking documents there.
These are life insurance policies that appear identical. Each one pays a $50,000 benefit, and they were both issued for my age group. But one came from a nationally advertised company, and it has an annual premium 3 times as high as this policy from a lesser-known company.
That's an amazing difference. I suppose most consumers think they can choose any insurance firm and get the same thing for their money.
Well, nothing could be further from the truth, Ray. In fact, the agent who sold me the cheaper policy gave me a free ballpoint pen and a leatherette appointment book, too. So that reduced my cost even more.
Yes, it did. And you say one company charged you 3 times as much as the other for the same identical coverage?
Right. My beneficiary will get $50,000 from each. Of course, with the cheaper one, I have to be killed by a falling meteor in order for anyone to collect. But I get to keep the ballpoint pen and the appointment book even if that never happens.
Well, then it certainly seems that you've turned up a real bargain for our many uninsured listeners.
Yes, and I'm a firm believer in the adage that life insurance is like fudge sauce. You can't have too much of it.
Well, that's a wise thought to leave us with today. I'm sure we're all looking forward to your next visit, Mr. Hort Netley, the Bob and Ray Consumer Affairs Advisor.
Well, gosh, it looks like we've come to the end of still another fine feature produced for the Radio Foundation by Larry Josephson, who wishes people wouldn't say I could care less when they really mean I couldn't care less.
Mr. Josephson's associate producer is Lars Hoel. Our musical director is Paul Taubman, Pride of Congress, New York.
And Al Schaefer was at the sound effects desk. In the control room, you'll probably find the technical director, Dave Glasser, as well as our engineering assistants, Marty Newman, Miles Smith, and Jay Newland, and our production assistants, Bill O'Neill and Charles Whitson.
The program was recorded at Howard Schwartz Studios in New York, utilizing most of the talents at Howard's command.
Funding was provided in part by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting through NPR's Satellite Program Development Fund.
This is Ray Goulding, reminding you to write if you get work.
Bob Elliott reminding you to hang by your thumbs.
Additional funding from public radio stations. For a free picture of Bob and Ray, send a stamped self-addressed envelope to Bob and Ray Picture, Box 5000 GPO, New York 10116. Again, send a stamped self-addressed envelope to Bob and Ray Picture, Box 5000 GPO, New York 10116. We regret that we cannot send a picture without a stamped self-addressed envelope. This program was independently produced by the Radio Foundation.